Alright, in this video we're checking out the Hobbymate Wizard 5. This is a hybrid style frame. The motor distance in the back is a little bit wider than the front, so it's 160 millimeters wide in the back here, 135 millimeters wide in the front. That's why it's called hybrid. It gets a little bit better turning characteristics in hard turns. This frame is 6 millimeter arms. Individual arms are replaceable. So typical, racing style frame does have this TPU part here on top that you just basically screw on. This is basically for turtle mode, and then you have a little enclosure here for your Lollipop 3 VTX antenna. Now, this isn't exactly a final version. It's pretty close, so not all the parts here are going to be exactly, may not be the same, so you want to check the link. But it should be pretty close. I got a F4 flight controller here with MPU 6000 gyro, 32-bit ESC. I think it's a 40 or 50 amp 32-bit ESC. It is 4 to 6S capable, and then I have a 25 to, I think this is a 600 milliwatt video transmitter. All of these parts are 30 by 30. The camera is a Caddx SDR2 Race Edition, so it's a 4x3 camera, very low latency, kind of similar to the Foxeer Predator. I think I did a review on this several months back. And then we're using a FreeSky compatible D16 receiver that's made by Hobbymate. I also did a review on that a while back as well. Bottom mounted battery here. Didn't come with props, so I used these. I'm using these HQ props. These are new. These are the R38 5-inch props. I think it's a 5.1 by 3.8 pitch prop, so not a whole lot of pitch. And then I also have the new R42 props as well. That's a little higher pitch than these. I'll be testing that in a future video, but I thought this would be a good prop for this setup because this is a pretty high kV motor for 6S. So it's a 2207 plus 2250 kV, so it's almost 2300 kV. And so I flew this on 1550 4S LiPo and a 850 6S LiPo, and I just wanted to keep the weight down on 6S because of the really super high kV. It's going to draw a lot of amps. You might have a really short flight time if you put a really heavy 6S battery on this. And I did flash Betaflight 4.1 on here. Didn't come with any firmware on here at all, so I had to flash something, so I flashed 4.1, and it actually works really well on both 4S and 6S without any pin changes. A little bit of oscillation, D-term oscillations on 6S to be expected on something such high voltage. So if you do get this set up and want to run the 850 6S, I would recommend lowering the P and D gains on Betaflight 4.1. But here's a little closer look at the motor, and it's got curved magnets, pretty nice copper windings. Not exactly sure if this is really a 2207. It does look like it's kind of a lower profile motor, but it's saying it's 2207 stator. Got a set screw on the bottom and hollow shaft. The motor is pretty nice. Bearings are very smooth. I don't think the motor weighs a whole lot. So this is their newest motor in their lineup. I think they have their motors made by RCN Power, if I'm not mistaken. But here's what the motor weighs with the prop nut on, 35.5 grams. And here's what the drone weighs, no battery, 318, about 318 grams. So I can't say a whole lot about the frame itself. It is 6 millimeter arms, feels fairly stiff. It should hold up pretty well in most crashes as long as it's not too severe, but then again, nothing is totally indestructible. But the frame construction, frame design is pretty commonplace, nothing too special about this particular frame design. Anyway, so let's get right into the flight demos. I'm going to do a 4S flight first, and then 6S flight, and then I'm going to narrate the flights. Alright, so we're just going to try... Okay, so I'm going to be flying a 4S on this flight, and then I'll do 6S on the second flight. This is stock Betaflight 4.1 default PIDs. kind of an unusual KV. It's like 2250 or something like that, so it's kind of in between 4S or 6S. Kind of a low end on the 4S or super crazy on the 6S. So I'm going to do a standard 1550 4S battery on this one here. And I'm going to do a lighter 6S battery for the 6S, but I think that if it's too heavy, amp draw is going to be too high at this KV. So this camera is the Caddx SDR2 Race Edition. It's got a similar sensor to the Predator, so that's why you're seeing this kind of high contrast image. Going to be very low latency as well. I mean, even on 4S, it's got decent power. Obviously, if you're going to be racing this, you're probably going to want to go 6S. But I think on 4S, it ought to have a pretty decent flight time. Apparently, I've forgotten to put the flight timer on the OSD here and the throttle percentage. Sorry about that. But I think these motors are, this KV, even on 4S, is going to draw a lot of amps, so I'm not expecting a crazy flight time. You can see I'm getting the low battery blipping coming up on the screen there real quick. So I'm not too hopeful on 6S. I gotta say though, Betaflight 4.1 and just about any motor, any prop, any KV, it just flies great on defaults without any changes to filtering or anything. So I'm testing out a new prop here. This is the HQ R38 prop. This is a new one. It's not bad. Does feel like it's pretty locked in. I'm getting more low battery warnings there. We'll run it down to about 14 volts. I mean, the performance isn't like crazy on 4S, but this is expected. It's about, what, almost 2300 kV, so it's like the kV that people ran 4S on a couple years ago. Now this is totally 6S capable, which is kind of crazy. Alright, the low battery warnings are staying on a little longer. And then it does recover. This is a Tattoo R-Line 1550. Voltage is coming back up to 14.4. Alright, I think the voltage is about done. Maybe we'll bring it in, let's try the 6S battery. The voltage has come back up again, but total arm about 447, so yeah, it's pretty decent flight time. Alright, so this is a 6S 850 milliamp hour. So same props, same PID tune, Betaflight 4.1. Haven't done any changes. So I can already hear a little bit of oscillation there, right when I make those little turns. But honestly, for no PID changes, it's not bad. Let's do a speed pass. Wow. Okay, this thing's gonna be kind of crazy. Try another one. Wow. So it's gonna sag the battery if you do a lot of those. And yes, you can hear a little bit of D-term oscillation there. Definitely way more power. Way more power. And I'm already at about 22.5 volts. Yeah, normally I would land and see about reducing the D gain, but I want to see what the motor temps are going to be like. I mean, on 4S, the motors were ice cold. They didn't have any, they weren't hot at all, but I'm thinking the motors might be a little bit warm on this tune. So I think just reducing the D gain and P gain just a little bit from the default should be fine. And of course, this quad has 33 DSCs and all that, so you can do RPM. You can turn on the RPM filter and all that too. I mean, it's just so, I mean, really smooth. And I think I'm already near the end of the battery. I'm expecting a shorter flight time, of course, on this 6S 850. Wanted to try a little bit, something a little lighter, because the kV is so high on this motor. I think that any extra weight is just going to draw so many more amps. I'm thinking I'll probably get to about 21 volts, and then I'll land it. But I'm actually surprised this 850 is lasting as long as it has. There we go. So now I'm at the end of the battery. Giving me a low battery warning consistently here. At about 3.5 volts per cell. Just below 21 volts, so I'll go ahead and land it. So roughly 3 minutes. A little bit more than I expected actually for this kV motor.